Hello, welcome to this video. And this video I'm going to be talking about Christmas. So, if you consider yourself a Christian, then please stay and watch the video. You know, in this video I'm going to talk about Christmas and how it's actually not really Christian in the fullest extent, besides the name. But in that, well, so let's break down Christmas into parts. First up, the tree. So, for many years, Christmas was celebrated all around the world with no tree. However, back in the day, you used to have this thing where across Europe, people would have, and they even, people would have, they bring in evergreens, because in Europe, like in many areas, there was a lot of crops dying if you hadn't harvested them, and there was, leaves would fall off the trees, and everything would be very glum, and there'd be a lot of depression. And while human beings obviously don't hibernate, there was a lot of turning down of the sort of you didn't do as much work because you couldn't farm really as much as you could in the modern day, because you weren't able to do as much because, well, what could you do? You outside, anything you planted would be killed, and animals as well wouldn't be able to always be outside in the cold, so you'd have to bring them into your home oftentimes. Now, of course, with brands like that, but the point is, that was the situation, so you sort of had to have some hope. So people would bring in, evergreen trees, because obviously they were a symbol. This was a natural green thing that showed life and everything in this despair. And this is a tradition that was kept up in Germany. And then when incest came along, and you've got a British king who needs to marry into some royal, so marries a German. That German brings with her a tree. A Christmas tree, as it became known. So, the German Christians actually they are the first ones to the first Christians to take this tree and go, how about we have this? But you could argue this is more of a sort of continuation of, it's separated from religion. It's just winter didn't go away when Christians came along. There were still obviously people that wanted to have, hope and stuff. It was so they continue on while then this sort of comes along, and at first it's just a royal thing with the British, but then Queen Victoria and Albert take power, and they are seen as, people want to copy them, and people see them a lot more and see what they do. And one of the things that's followed upon them is the Christmas trees. This spreads across the empire, and everyone begins to take it and just use it as their own. And this is really how the Christmas tree spreads everywhere. And this is why it becomes known as the Christmas tree. So it's kind of that sort of thing there, where the tree is not actually Christian. It's just that Christians took it and were like, oh, that's nice, a tree, and then started using it. Next, presents and Santa Claus. This is kind of two parts, but we'll get into that. So you might know Santa is thought originally to be from modern day Turkey, although he probably was a Greek. So he's thought to have given away gifts to people. Now, however, these weren't always the best due to the times. For example, it's something he gave a dowry to stop a woman being sold into slavery, which is, I guess, being forced into marriage is better than actual full-on slavery, but by how much, Anyway, basically Santa was a real person and the real saint, but was never part of the Bible, was never part of religion in its kind of conventional sense. So you can celebrate the religious man who helped save people from slavery by paying others to marry them, but it's not actually part of religion itself. It's just that he happened to be a Christian, religious, wealthy man, which kind of goes against Christianity, but now the Romans also, as well, when it comes to gifts, held festivals where they gave gifts. So this is kind of where the idea of giving gifts is from, but the character of Santa in the red suit, and that comes from the saint. but the practice of giving gifts comes from like the traditions of giving gifts around this time. So yeah, those are kind of two separate things. But anyway, that's just a little thing there. Now, next we have time. This is one of the main ones. You see, we don't know when the real life Jesus Christ was born exactly, but we certainly know it wasn't in December. See, back in the day, Christians really wanted to spread their religion, even if that meant changing things up a bit to please a few kings, maybe adding stuff in and translating things a bit differently to what they should be translated as. And one thing they did change was the birth of Jesus Christ to the so-called pagan Roman, German, and Nordic religions. So by changing the birth, they convinced those people to join up, and the 25th of December became the birth date rather than sometime in February, April. Because you see, when you're talking about someone, you're saying, just join our religion. You're just wrong a tiny bit, just a tiny bit. You just need to it's not this person actually, it's Jesus Christ instead. That's what you're doing. You're just sort of shifting people in there. It's obviously a lot easier to accept that, you just got the wrong person. Actually, it's this person, but that's all. The date is the same, and basically the celebration is the same. Just the name is just a bit, it's a lot easier to convince people that they're just slightly wrong than that they're wrong and they should believe you. So next we have the name. So usually you'll only really hear this from your Nazi types who like to point out that people are deciding not to say Christmas, and they say it's a war on Christmas. It's generally Americans, by the way, and they point to the use of Xmas or Happy Holidays. And well, let's break this down. So Happy Holidays is just like a very old tradition. So I guess your argument could be, well, it's a war on Christmas that's been going on for hundreds of years, but it's just a little thing there. With Happy Holidays, that's not really related, because that's like inclusivity, and also it's been used for ages, so it's not coming out now. But what's more interesting is Xmas, because even people who are like, the war on Christmas is nonsense, what are you talking about, this is all nonsense, they sometimes miss the fact that Xmas is actually not the shortening of Christmas to X. Obviously, Christ into X. Because Xmas was used before Christmas. So, yeah, that's that little thing there. Now, finally, the one final thing I have to say on this is, well, when it comes down to it, should you, if you're non-Christian, and I mean fully non-Christian, you say you're non-Christian, and, you are practicing Christian, all that stuff, should you celebrate Christmas? I don't mean should you celebrate, the month, the winter solstice, Hanukkah, all these things. I don't mean celebrating the general celebrations, because obviously there are many celebrations other than the Christian one. I don't mean, you celebrate those if you're not Christian. I mean, should you celebrate Christmas as in the birth of Jesus Christ? I would say yes. Not necessarily, though, at December, because that wasn't when the real life person was born. So, maybe change it to start celebrating in February and April to be more precise. And the reason behind this is that, as I'm going to talk about in a video that's upcoming, it won't be out for a while, I'd say, but Jesus Christ actually appears to be, at least from the historical language we have, a very good person. Like, someone who was trying to shrug the Romans off the Jewish people and push them away and get people to stop supporting Rome by paying tax to them, by allowing them to control them, and just basically fight against the machine of the Roman Empire. And you also might know the Roman Empire was genocidal, and they killed, technically speaking, more of the world that they, as the percentage of people they killed in proportion to the amount of people they knew about is actually higher than the Nazis. Obviously, the Nazis would have been far worse if they were able to expand everywhere. It's just the Nazis, the German Nazis of 1930s and 40s, they obviously fell. Although the current Nazis now have not failed. But the point I'm making is that that's a sort of level, that's the sort of person you're looking at. Someone who was fighting against the injustice, fighting against the capitalistic tendencies of just, not allowing people to survive because of financial troubles, and fighting against all of that, this wealth gathering, and fighting against the Romans. So that, to me, seems like a pretty good historical figure. And celebrating that person's life, celebrating their birth, seems like definitely a possible good thing to do, you know? Anyway, that's just it. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you want to do all those YouTube things like subscribe and all that stuff, you can if you want to, but like you don't have to. If you want to watch the videos, although a lot of them are pretty bad, so you know. But yeah, sometimes, yeah. Anyway, bye.